this thing's tracking to get done sooner than later here. And that'll have a big effect on a lot of different people, even if they're not on Hard Knocks, which kind of have to be rooting. I mean, imagine that. If it's August 8th that the sale gets done, it'll be the first time in Hard Knocks history you literally have an ownership change. I would put the percent chance so low that Dan Snyder even appears on the show. But, that is a scenario where maybe you get a Dan Snyder look. I don't see him putting on a microphone and getting interviewed, but maybe he pops up on the show.
Is the league and HBO and NFL Films, are they just waiting for someone to volunteer? Just any team? I know you got I know they created this new eligibility list for Hard Knocks. No rookie coaches.
Right.
Nobody who made the playoffs last year has to do it. Are they just waiting for anybody to volunteer, it seems like?
I mean, to an extent that's true, but at this point you can force teams to do it. Usually they want to somehow incentivize people and somehow kind of make clear, okay, we need you to do this. Here's the benefits to you. There's teams that want to do it. There are teams, Detroit last year, actually wanted to do it organizationally because, listen, everybody's reduced Dan Campbell for 2 years to one quote in his opening press conference.
Oh, it was a great quote.
It's a memorable quote. But I've told many people we need a moratorium on the biting kneecaps joke because there's so much more to Dan Campbell, and you saw it on that show last year.
Yeah, he was great.
There's also Metallica lyrics. There's all kinds of things.
Dark tunnels and all kinds of stuff.
Dan is way smarter than everybody gives him credit for. He's built a hell of a staff in Detroit. The fact that Ben Johnson, who is the hottest head coaching candidate in this cycle besides DeMeco Ryans, turned down. I mean, he very possibly would have been the Panthers coach right now if he had not decided he wanted to go back to Detroit. He wanted to take another run at it. And a big part of that for Ben is he wants to go to the playoffs. He wants to see this thing through. He wants to finish it off, and he thinks that, he can grow, and he's got a loyalty to Dan, too. He wants to be there with him. They've known each other a long time, going back to Miami. He wants to be a part of that thing. I mean, just think about that. When's the last time we talked about the Lions having a chance to do something? Having a chance to be, I have no idea what the Vegas odds are. You can look those up, Brockman, but I got to think they are one of, if not the favorite to win the division, certainly to make the playoffs. And I think that the first taste of this Lions program that a lot of people got was Hard Knocks last year. You cannot argue, even though the Lions started slow last season before they really turned things on, you can't argue that Hard Knocks was anything but great for the Lions because they were able to show, here's the depth of this program. Here's what we're about. This isn't some clown show operation here. This is the real deal. Dan Campbell is a real dude. He's exactly, it's not a caricature. It's not him putting on an act. Authenticity is a wildly underrated trait in head coaches. If you are faking it, just like we just heard from Stefanski talking about Jonathan Gannon, people are looking at Gannon and his opening press conference and things like that's JG. That's his real personality. If you are faking it, players see through that stuff. And there are plenty of examples of coaches through time who, once they got into that big role, they weren't cut out for it because they were trying to act like what they thought a head coach should be. Dan Campbell came in, and he's unlike any head coach in the NFL, but he's Dan Campbell. He's exactly himself. And Hard Knocks, benefited that. I don't know that if you're a team like the Commanders that this helps you, just because you've already got enough going on in terms of you've got coaches under fire, you've got a potential ownership change, you've got a quarterback competition. There may be too much on your plate. And I think Ron Rivera at this point just kind of wants to keep his head down in all likelihood and just get to the season and try to play well, win some games, and make sure that you're sticking around as part of this new regime. With the Jets, I don't know if they need any more attention. They're going to be the number one story in a lot of ways in the NFL going into training camp. We didn't really see Aaron do a whole lot in the spring. What he looks like, how he plays. They're on Monday Night Football in week 1. They got a really talented young roster. Do you need Hard Knocks? I don't know that you need Hard Knocks in a place like that. Who's the other eligible team? There's one more. Saints?
Saints, I think.
The Saints are eligible to go back. I don't know that necessarily benefits them either, but...
And we've already seen Derek Carr on Hard Knocks. The Raiders just did it a few years ago.
That's right. I feel like that season was mostly about them going out to eat, wasn't it? Wasn't it mostly? It was like that was the Selman episode, right?
Antonio Brown too, right? Wasn't that year also?
Antonio Brown, yeah, he occasionally showed up on that show. My guy Mike Mayock had to come out and tell the reporters that he wasn't there. I can't remember if that was the helmet or when he froze his feet off, falling asleep in the hyperbaric chamber.
I think it was the feet frozen thing. Yeah.
I love that Antonio Brown is still hovering around in the universe too. He's still popping up, claiming he's playing for a Arena League team in Albany, New York.
Well, he owns a team.
But he's also claiming he's playing.
Oh, really?
Well, no, he denied in a legal filing that he owns the team.
Oh, okay.
But then also claims he is playing and owns the team. It's a whole thing. There's still, I never take, I keep a spreadsheet with all the free agents in the NFL just so I don't forget things. Like I'm trying to jog my memory. Okay, who's still out there? I can't delete Antonio Brown yet, even though he has not played since he took his pads and jersey off and ran off the field in New York.
Hold on. You won't delete Antonio Brown, but you've deleted Tom Brady already?
Tom Brady is also still on the list, just in case.
Thank you, Tom.
So is Gronk.
Thank you.
Okay, you happy over there, Boston?
I am happy.
They're both still on the list.
It's coming back.
Colin Kaepernick's still on the list. There's a lot of things that can happen in the NFL. I mean, do you realize Tim Tebow was on a team 2 years ago at this time? Tim Tebow was on the Jaguars as a tight end.
Yeah.
In 2021. That's a real thing that happened.
It did.
And then did not end well.
Urban Meyer was the head coach for a second.
Urban Meyer was a head coach 2 years ago. Weird things happen in the NFL, man. There's not a lot. Just like with Diggs, when I say, like, there's no way. Well, there's really no way he could get traded here. But odd things happen. Logistically, it makes zero sense. There's no reason for the Bills to do it.
No.
But weird things happen in the NFL.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.